Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to show you the things that you'll need to get started to make your sourdough bread. The first thing that you'll need is a glass jar, and we're going to use this glass jar to make our yeast. It needs to be about this size so that the yeast has room to expand. So here's my head as a reference, so you know about how large. And if you don't have a glass jar, that's okay too. You can use a ceramic bowl, a glass bowl, and a kitchen towel or a plastic bag to put over the top of it. That will work great too. The next thing that you need is wheat flour or rye flour. You just need a flour to feed the yeast that is going to be heartier, which will make a stronger yeast. And for the bread, preferably if you can get bread flour, it's usually what I use, but I couldn't find any bread flour, so I'm working with all-purpose flour. You just have to work with whatever you have. Next thing is salt. This is pink Himalayan salt. You can use any kind of table salt. It just needs to be a fine grain salt. And next is a bowl to mix everything in. This is the actual bowl that I use, the size of bowl that I use. You need a kitchen scale. If you don't have a kitchen scale, that's okay. When I first started making bread, I did not use a kitchen scale. I just used a measuring cup. So work with what you have. Bannetons. These are very well loved Bannetons. So this is used for the final proofing of your bread. If you don't have these or can't get your hands on these, it's no problem. You don't have to have these. In fact, when I first started making bread, I just made a big giant loaf right out of my big bowl. Okay, so it's not absolutely necessary. Next thing, you need a Dutch oven. This guy. If you have a Dutch oven, you know how awesome these are, how versatile. But if you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use this guy. So this is an iron skillet, works great. If you have two of these, even better. You can put one over the top to hold in the moisture, and you can make a smushier, a sandwichy type bread. Next, parchment paper. I like to use parchment paper, but you don't have to have parchment paper. And any kind of gluten-free flour. I'll explain more as we go. This is something that you don't absolutely have to have either, but if you're going to split this mixture into two loaves, you'll definitely want something that's non-stick that won't bulk up the bread. So that's what I use this for. Also, it doesn't have to be, this is, as you can see, it's a 1-for-1 baking flour. So it's got a mixture of gluten-free ingredients. I prefer to use rice flour, but I haven't been able to find that the past couple of times that I've been to the store. And that's all, plus an oven. But I assume that you already have one of those in your lovely kitchen. That is everything that you need to get started. In the next video, we will start on making the yeast, and that should be about a 5-day process, depending on your climate. Those of you in a warmer climate, Sometimes it takes a little less time for it to ferment. If you're in a cooler climate, I used to use a heating pad when I lived in Colorado to keep my yeast warm, to keep it growing. So there's another little item that you may have around the house if you live in a cold climate. That's all I can think of right now. So I will put that list together down below. If you have any questions, ask me. I'll be happy to answer them as best as I can. And I will see you guys in the next video.